Well, good afternoon, everybody, and I hope you're having a wonderful time today at the London Festival of Railway Modelling. For our third interview today, we've got our good friend from Rapido Trains, Mr. Andrew Hardy. Good afternoon, Andrew.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for having me.
Now, 2 days ago, you let slip that you're going to produce Met 1.
Yeah, not so much let slip, but a deliberate plan ready for the Festival of Railway Modelling here in London. Met number 1, of course, synonymous with London, although spent most of its time underground at various points. And yeah, we thought we wanted to announce it somewhere that was relevant for the locomotive we've done.
Well, you've announced it. But not only have you announced it today, 2 days later, here it is, the engineering prototype running on our test tracks.
Yeah, it's convenient timing, that one. Truth be told, we've actually had the sample since earlier this year, but where better to announce it, really. We thought we'd announce it and bring it along for everyone to see here.
Well, of course, it is a very famous London loco, and I believe 10 years ago it actually was in steam on the district line, and I know our good friend Tim Dunn was heavily involved in promoting that.
Yeah, very much. So the locomotive was preserved straight out of London Transport use. It became an overnight popular locomotive. It's done several rail tours on London Underground, the Metropolitan Line anniversary, the District Line anniversary more recently. One of my members of staff at Rapido was actually support crew for it and used to work it on the Underground. Obviously, it's been loads and loads of places on heritage railways. Mid-Hants, we've seen it at all sorts of places around the country, so lots of people have seen it. There's not many people who are Metropolitan Railway modellers. It's one of those models that not everyone needs, but seemingly an awful lot of people want.
Now, how many liveries are we going to see this in?
There's 3 liveries, but there's going to be 4 running numbers. So Met 1 itself we're going to do in London Transport livery, and two versions of the Metropolitan livery that it's carried during its preserved life. We're also going to do L48. This was L44 in London Transport days because at the end of steam they were close enough that our tooling will allow us to do both locomotives.
Well, I think it looks absolutely lovely, and from the reaction on social media already, it's going to sell like hotcakes, quite literally.
Touch wood, I hope so, and who knows, it might open the door for further London Transport or light rail or tramway type stuff in the future, who knows?
Well, it'll be rather fun. Now, as I said, it's the 10th anniversary of Met 1's last running, but we then go back a lot further in time, 70 years ago, to probably one of the first pivotal moments of the British railway preservation era. Tom Rolt started the ball rolling, but the film The Titfield Thunderbolt definitely made an impression.
Absolutely. So, and interestingly, it was Tom Rolt and the guys at the Title Inn that were almost responsible for it. Tibby Clark, who was the screenwriter at Ealing Comedy, Ealing Studios, who wrote a lot of the Ealing comedies, actually went on holiday visiting one of his writing friends in Wales and was taken down to the embryonic railway where he saw a poster that said looking for volunteer plate layers. Couldn't believe it and thought this would be a good story to write into a film. And another really strange turn of fate, this was a film based around enthusiasts taking over a railway. Tibby Clark's neighbour, when he lived at home, was one Dr. Beeching.
Good God.
Before it became popular, so he sort of foreshadowed what was going to come later on in some ways. Very, very strange, really.
So the Titfield Thunderbolt movie, for those who haven't seen it, and I'm sure most enthusiasts have, is about these guys not only rescuing a railway and getting permission to run it themselves, but having to rescue some quite unique stock to do it.
Absolutely. The rolling stock was a really keen part of it. Getting permission is somewhat apt with what we've had to do to be able to actually make our own models. But yeah, there were some iconic pieces of rolling stock that were in the film, and we kind of thought this could be really fun. Let's do something different. At the end of the day, everything you see in this hall is people playing with train sets, really. Everyone talks about model railways and how it's all amazingly good. And you look at Copenhagen Fields, but at the end of the day, it's grown men and women playing with train sets.
It is.
And we get a bit stuffy in the hobby sometimes. This was fun. We thought, why not do something different? Let's break the mould. And we've been completely ridiculous with it all the way through. And people have really enjoyed seeing that. They've enjoyed seeing something different. Again, who needs a model of the Titfield Thunderbolt? But lots of people seem to want one.
We all do. At the end of the day, every one of us models to Rule 1.
Correct.
It's your railway and you'll run what you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of Rule 1 happens at Rapido.
It's lovely. Now, here today, we've got a few bits as the stuff is now coming to market. And, of course, this is the officially licensed product, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we've been working with Studio Canal, who are the film rights holders. They've been absolutely instrumental in this since the first day we approached them. So we have had had photographs from their archive that haven't seen the day of light. Some of those are going into the booklet that's going to be included with the deluxe packs. They've helped out with allowing edited sound clips from the film itself to be used in the DCC sound versions.
Oh, wow.
So Thunderbolt, depending on your DCC system, will be able to play clips from the film, Mr. Valentine talking about stuff, and Reverend Weech, etc. And it's absolutely brilliant. They have been so helpful, all officially licensed from them, so we couldn't have done it without them.
Now, again, you've got a few bits of this wonderful hybrid carriage that literally got lashed together to make the first official train on the line.
Absolutely. So the carriage itself was actually a film prop. It was very slab-sided, and it was built in 3 sections. The idea of it being that they could lose one end of it in the studio to film into the carriage. A lot of the moving scenes in the film were actually done in Ealing themselves. So we've had to recreate that not right look. So it is very square, it's very angular, and of course the art department at Ealing actually painted the weathering on it. It wasn't allowed to weather normally, and if you look in the film, especially in the glass negatives that we've been sent, you can see where they've brushed the weathering into a certain effects on stuff. So trying to duplicate that has been quite difficult. You can't just spray a coat of weathering spray over it. It's got to fit the right way. So we've used some quite advanced production techniques to mimic what you see in the film. So again, we've kind of done some new stuff with it on something that's very, very out there compared to what we would do normally.
And then, I don't know if we can get a shot of it, but this chimney that has come to go on the Lion-style locomotive is really quite a work of art.
It is. So the chimney for Lion, again, Ealing, when the locomotive arrived for filming, they painted it into a special Thunderbolt livery, and they had all these triangles in gold round all sides of the chimney. If you imagine laying a transfer on a chimney is fairly easy, but trying to print that with a printing method is quite hard. So this chimney is sprayed one colour and then has 5 tampo printing processes to get 5. Because what we've had to do is put a tampo print on one side, turn it, and turn it, and get it registered so that all the diamonds lined up perfectly.
Wow.
It is a work of art. My factory, I don't think, like me anymore.
No, I'm sure they don't. Now, lastly, of course, and it's running behind Met 1, is this rather fabulous coach, which is not just appearing in the Titfield range, but also your Wisbech and Upwell set.
Yes, so when they were looking for somewhere to film on the railway, they actually looked at the Kelvin and Tollsbury in Essex, and they looked at the Kenton in Sussex, and they were looking for places near London. None of them worked out in the end, but when they were at the K&T, they spotted the 2 Wisbech coaches which had been transferred there. BR was looking at getting rid of them. One was going to go into preservation. The other subsequently was sold off, and the preserved one got scrapped, but they arranged for one to appear in the film. A really fun fact, everyone knows that the car in the Titfield Thunderbolt had a bar in it.
Yes.
The bar was never actually in the coach for the filming.
Oh.
It was only inside of built-up proper Ealing studios. So the coach that is now preserved on the North Norfolk Railway does have a bar put in it, but one of those really weird things that when you start looking at the film, you realise that some of it is not real.
Yeah, but this has actually got lights dangling, festooned through the middle of the bar coach.
Absolutely. So again, we want to do a bit silly with this. So the roof is removed from these coaches. The one that's running round is the Titfield one. It's got the bar in it. It's got the hanging leather straps that people would hold on to, and likewise the gas lighting is on the underside of the roof, including a nice clear round bulb on it. It's non-working, but it's there, and when you look through the windows, you really can't miss it. It looks absolutely lovely.
Now, of course, having done this for the Titfield Thunderbolt range, you've then also utilised it to do Wisbech and Upwell as well.
Absolutely. So let's spread the cost of the tooling over many things. So we've done the coaches in their early lives, which we're doing in a pack with the J70 tram engine. So we're doing 2 Great Eastern tram packs with the coach brown colour and the earlier Great Eastern crimson maroon colour. We're then also doing the trams individually in their LNER and BR browns, painted browns. And then lastly, we're doing a What If one in full BR crimson with lining and roundel on the side of it. Just for a bit of fun, because people like silly things, and people use them on light railways and such like. We thought, why not? Again, we're not using one tooling. The steps on the end changed from Great Eastern days to LNER. They lost handbrakes. They had different interiors. There was a first and a first third. So we've tooled up all the different variations. There's actually 3 body shells for 2 coaches.
Good God.
Just to get it right. So we've done it properly, because it's one of those things, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
Now, about a year back, you announced your B set, didn't you? What's the news on that?
So the B set was announced at Worley last year, so that was last November. I have just paid for it to go into tooling, so I will hopefully have some samples in probably about 3 months' time.
Okay.
And when they arrive, we'll run the order book for another couple of months, and then they'll go into production.
Because this is a vital part of your model, isn't it? You need people to put their orders in, because
Absolutely.
you'll pretty much be limited to what has been ordered.
Yeah, so rather than make a model and just make X number and sell them, our business model offers us some protection a little bit, so we will announce a model and we'll run an order book. That tells us how many people are interested in each particular livery. We don't end up in a situation where we make, say, 1,000 of each colour and one's popular and one's not, and people have to sit on shelves. Retailers don't want stock sat around if they buy it and it's wrong. It doesn't help the hobby, so we do an order book method. We then buy a very small percentage on top of that to allow us to cater for a few people who miss out, but it does mean that by the time a product arrives, quite often it's sold out. So if people are interested in stuff, get an order in either via us or one of our official retailers.
Yes, and you are a great supporter of the retail network. So we've talked about these items. What else is coming down the tracks?
Awful lot of stuff coming up at the moment. We've just had some samples this week arrive for some stuff. So the Laureate, which is the vehicle that Dan's house went on in the film, that's being done as a standalone product, and the samples of that have arrived and will be coming, hopefully will be shipping in a month or two. Our South Eastern Chatham brake vans, which is a personal project of mine.
And rather lovely is
just
too.
about on their way. The roof on the actual production ones will be fixed, but again, we like doing things properly. So inside, if we can just about see that, there's full interior, fully painted, and of course in the Titfield theme, a towed brake van was used at the back of the train.
Yep.
So an all-new AA20 towed. These have magnetic grooves, and again, can't resist it. Full interiors in them, the stove, two-tone colour. We thought, let's just go a little bit mad with them.
That
really.
is
So
absolutely lovely.
we like being different.
As I said, you may not be our biggest manufacturer, but the quality is unsurpassed. So, Andrew, I wish you all the success of this. I look forward to seeing a Titfield train running on our test tracks in full at some point, all liveried up, and I'm sure we'll have another chat this time next year.
Absolutely. We look forward to surprising you next Thursday before the show next year.
Absolutely. I'll be watching social media with bated breath. Andrew, thank you for bringing us Met One. As I said, this is an absolute first for us, an announcement on a Thursday and an EP on the Saturday. Thank you, Andrew.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.